Hey guys, and welcome back to OTB Off the Bar. I'm with Josh as always. Now, Josh, there's a lot of reports coming out this morning, a lot of unrest, a lot of big problems, as we all know. But some articles coming out saying that the big dogs are not happy.
Yep.
Ronaldo, Bruno, they're all speaking out, and we know how articles are. We know that, they can kind of make stories up on the fly, but when there's smoke, there is fire. So I have to say, going off these articles, I don't take too much into them, but let's deep dive into them anyway, and let's see what the truths are within the kind of these stories.
Yep. So I saved a couple here. First one saying Bruno Fernandes, a key signing under Ollie, is growing frustrated by the lack of direction given to him by his manager. The United boss is backed by a coaching team that lacks experience in the top flight, and the playmaker also feels they are contributing very little. So obviously not happy with the level of coaching that the squad's getting. Now apparently Ronaldo also is alarmed by the huge drop-off in standards since leaving. So he's come back, probably anticipating it to be at a certain level compared to where he left. Come back and it's obviously dropped a lot. He's obviously not overly impressed either.
Well, you can see the truth in that story because you probably, when you bring in a player of Ronaldo's stature, not just Ronaldo's stature, but Bruno's as well, you're probably promising them lots of different things. Yep. You're probably promising the world, to be fair.
Well, yeah, they'd have high expectations.
Yeah, we're saying, look at our squad. We're really going to bring, you're like the missing link, all that type of stuff. So when these players are touted and scouted for, a position at United, they are probably promised these type of things. Now, in saying that, you can understand the reason why you would be frustrated with Manchester United right now.
Yep.
You can understand the reason why you'd be upset with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right now.
Yep.
So to say these stories are not true, you could probably say that they are true. You probably say that someone's probably in the press getting leaked this type of information saying, they probably can't publicly come out and say, how bad would that be to be like a person like Ronaldo and say, Ollie, yeah, he's fucking shit.
Yep.
He's no good.
No doubt there's some truth in there. However, you also have to look at it from another standpoint that Bruno wasn't saying this when he was playing good last season. He was obviously getting enough direction back then. Why all of a sudden has it changed?
Well, you would say that it's probably because every year under Ollie, there's been a slow progression forward, and you feel like after these current results, it's almost like it's going backwards.
Why? Why would it have gone backwards all of a sudden?
Well, to be fair, soccer is or football is a results based sport. Yeah. So once you start losing to the big teams and you can't really perform against the small teams, then there's always someone that needs to get their finger, like the point of the finger at, what I mean? There's always someone like, oh, well, it's not my fault. It's the manager's fault. And I feel like this, the players, they're feeling the heat just like Ollie.
Yeah, the players have to take accountability. At some point through it, the players have to take on some of the blame. However, I feel like it's quite obvious that although the players are underperforming, they're the ones on the pitch. You're not going to go sack 16 players.
No.
It falls on the manager.
Yeah.
And there's got to be a reason why a squad full of such good players can't seem to get it right. That's got to fall down to the boss.
Well, you saw that with Chelsea last season. They're coming 10th. Things aren't going as well as it should be going, especially after the money they invested into that team. They remove Frank Lampard and then bring Tuchel in, and you can see just in the results and also with their trophy cabinet, that it wasn't necessarily all the players' fault.
Yep.
That it was, structure and probably a little bit of new manager bounce as well. But, it's one of those things where it's probably a combination of a lot of different things that make a successful football team. And unfortunately, now we're in a period of there's a bit of poison going on, and the players are kind of unrest. There's got a bit of unrest in the players. There's unrest with the coaching staff, unrest with Ollie. There's probably all these different factors. Doesn't really help that these reports come out.
No,
but also, there's some truth to them, because otherwise, this team is capable of more.
Yeah. Well, it also goes on to say that a lot of the players are baffled at the treatment of Donny. Apparently impresses in training, and the fact that other players in his position can't put a string of good games together, yet he can't get a chance.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like when you're, as you know, when you're a player coming into a team, like a fresh player, it takes a while for you to gain your confidence and to kind of show you your performance level. But once you've established yourself in a team and you start, I'm guessing, dominating, or if not dominating, but performing well in training, you kind of start saying, well, what am I doing wrong to not get into the team? Does the manager just not like me? Does the system just not work around me? But on top of everything else, you're getting players not performing on the pitch. You're performing well. Other players see that you're performing well, but then you can't get a game.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I'm sure it'd be super disheartening as a player coming into a new team, having a lot of expectation, having a good record behind you. Because, just as a few people were saying to me before, Donny van der Beek was a Ballon d'Or nominee.
Yep.
So you've got a bit of hype about you. You've got a bit of you're obviously doing well to be nominated into that list. So to have no game time at all is worrying as a player, I'm guessing.
Well, no doubt he's disappointed, but the biggest thing that is now other players are starting to see it. Other players are the ones noticing it, and the reports are that other players are confused about it and are maybe starting to doubt Ollie. It seems like Ollie has his favourites that no matter how they play, they're not going to get dropped. No matter how they train, they're not going to get dropped. You would think on current form, Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire, we've conceded so many goals. If you were to just go off the back line, for example, you would think that they're the first two that would be, listen, you're in a bad rut at the moment. Sit on the side, get your head together. I'm going to bring someone else in. It's almost like a bit of a kick up the arse, get them to open their eyes a bit, and maybe they'll come back into form.
Well, I feel like you'll get the best out of players when you do that, when you provide a competitive element to a squad. Now, we saw that with Luke Shaw, for example, when they brought in Tellez.
Yep.
You saw a huge increase in form. Now, because it seems like he's undroppable, you can see that form kind of just getting lower and lower and lower.
He's gone into his old self.
Yeah, and just going off form, like Tellez performed pretty well in the Champions League game, scoring an absolute screamer of a goal. But he doesn't see any light after the end of the tunnel after that.
Yeah, well, you would, in such a difficult time, you would want to try your best to keep morale up through the squad. Now, you can imagine, let's just say 4 or 5 players will go off here. Delo, Lingard, Eric Boy, Tellez, and Donny. Out of all those players, you can't imagine the morale being high because they're sitting on the bench week after week thinking, oh, yep, the bloke in my position's playing terrible. He's having a stinker. He's had a stinker, 2 or 3 games straight now, and I'm still not good enough to get a chance. So when they come back into the squad, confidence is low. You got no match fitness. You're undercooked. It's very hard for any of those players to then come in, like the whole Eric Bailly thing. He done well to come into the game against Atalanta and man of the match, scores an own goal, straight away taken off, all of a sudden scapegoated. You'd be creating, instead of optimism, you're putting more doubt into the squad.
Yeah.
So you're already in a tough time and you're putting more doubt into your fringe players who they're probably the players you should be looking at now and saying, you guys are going to be the ones that are ultimately going to come into the team because I've got to make changes. they're going to be the players to get them out of the rut.
Mm.
You know,
well, it's almost like you want to tell those players, get them in and say, look, these guys, they're performing at the moment. You know, I can't drop them. You understand that. But you make sure that, you know, you're ready, because once they're not performing, you've got a chance. Yeah. And it basically instills optimism, instills positivity, because they can be like, well, the moment that they don't perform, I'm in there. So it inspires them to train better, perform better. And then the moment they get that opportunity, you'll see that type of optimism works.
It gives the let's just say the better players or the bigger players that incentive to keep working hard as well.
Yeah, because it's like, well, that guy's behind me, ready to take my spot.
Luke Shaw, your Maguire, Bruno. It gives these players incentive to say, okay, I'm in good form right now. I can't let up though, because the minute I do, these guys are going to take my spot. That's the whole thing about playing at a big club that Manchester United is. You know, it's competitive. It's, you know, you have to be A+ to hold your spot. It's not like that at the moment. And it's kind of, you know, Maguire and Shaw are getting favouritism from Ollie. They've just been both picked in the England squad, which I find out of this world, that on our current form, you could pick any of our two defenders to represent the country. You know, so favouritism there. It could be, for example, they're a little bit on their high horse. England internationals, undroppable. I don't need to, you know, perform, or I'm safe. And their levels are just dropping and dropping.
Yeah, it's definitely worrying as a United fan to see the fringe players not get a chance. Very frustrating. I think everyone in the stadium at the moment is calling for Donny especially.
Change.
Just something.
Just something.
There was a huge crowd roar when they ended up bringing Donny on with Man City. Remember that?
For like 10 minutes, they just chanted Donny.
Yeah.
And there was players that had been on the field the whole game. There was not one chant. Like, that's got to show something.
Well, it's very difficult being a player coming in and only getting like that. That's probably his best case scenario, that he'll get more than 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Usually you're getting 5 minutes, and unfortunately, you know, you can't even start breaking a sweat at 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and then you'll come out and say, oh, you know, these guys aren't fit. Well, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
I don't think with the training regime that, you know, every day in, day out, to do maybe 2 days, whatever, that you're going to be unfit.
Well, they would be fit. I think he means match fit, but none of them are going to get match fit unless you give them games.
Yeah.
Unless you manage the roster in a way that they're all getting enough minutes. Now, you're always going to try and play with your best team, but you need to get enough minutes for everyone so that when they come in, they're prepared. You know, an alarming stat here that I only found out this morning was Daniel James, who left us at the start of the season, only played 2 games, has still played more minutes for us than Dalot, Lingard, Boy, Tellez and Donny van der Beek.
That's terrible.
So he left us months ago, and he still has more match minutes than players that have been, you know, at the club for the duration of the season so far. Like, that's almost ridiculous.
It kind of backs up the statement that he has favourites in the squad.
Yeah, why would you not let Jesse Lingard leave? Oh, you know, we want Jesse to, you know, we're going to look after his career. His first thing was he's at an age where he needs to play football. We're going to let him go on loan. Does really well at West Ham. Comes back. No. He's going to play a big part in our team this year. Doesn't get on.
Well, it's not good for a player like that, because ultimately when he was with West Ham, they're looking at him for England contention. He's left out of the squad now. There's a lot of players that need to have minutes, and in order for them to have minutes, the manager has to rotate the squad adequately.
Yeah.
Now, I think everyone also agrees with us when it comes to that, where players not performing need to be set on the bench. And it's one of those things where when you hear a stat like that, you're a bit shocked, because you're like, well, he's left ages ago. Yeah. I can't believe that's actually a relevant stat, where players like Lingard, which was in form, players like Donny, which proved to be a really fantastic player in the centre of the park, are not getting more minutes than a player that's left us months ago.
Even our defenders, though, like, our defenders are not even close to being in good form.
No, they're shit.
We've shipped.
They're shit. Just put it bluntly. They are fucking shit.
We've shipped that many goals in the past few months. How does Delo not get a run at right back? Especially when we change a system, when you're going to play wing back now, Delo is probably more comfortable going forward. How does he not get a game? Like, maybe not every game, but how does he not get a start? Just nothing at all. Wan-Bissaka is a shoo-in. Starts every single game. Me personally, I know a lot of people rate him. Me personally, I think he's woeful. In terms of defending, yeah, he's great. But his first touch, shit, can't go forward. He doesn't give you any supply into the box. He's uncomfortable in possession. We can't play out from the back because you're giving the ball, to the likes of him or Harry Maguire. They're uncomfortable. How does someone like Delo, Eric Bailly, Tellez not get a run?
I totally agree with you.
Half a game.
I totally agree with you.
30 minutes somewhere, but just nothing. Until there's an injury or there's a suspension, here you go on. Alex Tellez came on for, who was it? Was it midweek? Come on against Atlanta. Was it Tellez came on?
Yes.
Undercooked. Didn't give us much going forward. Defensively, not great. He's not ready to play because he doesn't ever get a chance to play. And apparently from what we hear about training, if training was super intense and the levels were high, fair enough. It almost, helps you stay in touch. If training's poor and you're not getting game time, those squad players, they're not getting a fair chance.
No, they're not. And that's just probably the tip of the iceberg, to be fair, with United at the moment, with the problems.
Yeah, well, that's only what we're hearing.
Yeah. And like you said, when there's smoke, there's fire. There's undoubtedly unrest in the United bench, on the United bench, in the United team, with the United coaches. It seems to be in a really bad spot at the moment. But that's pretty much all we have time for today. I think we could fill up this space for another 3-4 hours. But
I'm sure tomorrow there'll be another news
there'll be
article.
there'll be another story, another
dramas
stat
at Manchester United.
Yeah.
So until then, we'll wait till those reports come out and we'll report them back to you.
Exactly. All right, guys, like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. Hit the notification bell so you know exactly when we're uploading new content. And we'll catch you on the next one.
See you next time.